There we go. And we should now have microphone sound, which hopefully isn't choppy. Bit of wishful thinking.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay, so all the chops are gone.
There's about a 15-second lag, just so you know.
Yeah, it's pretty severe.
That's just internet, though. That's just internet. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's about 300 seconds of delay between my camera and my microphone, and all the other stuff is internet. It's pretty insane. And still there are...
Chops.
Okay, so that's good. It's funny how much faster Facebook streaming is. Like this. It's almost instant. Okay, so this is one interface. Yeah, so this is one interface. So let's just throw on the second interface, if we can find a little knob. There we go. There we go. That's online. So now if I play the keyboard, it's running into the second interface. So we have to wait a little bit. "15 seconds later."
I can't tell. I can't. Do you have any speakers on right now?
Oh. Yep, I'm very sorry. I was, in fact.
I just want to make sure that when I heard you play the synth, that I was hearing through the stream and not through the speakers.
Yeah, exactly, because the mic's also picking up. So now there are no speakers, so this should be better.
All right, I hear the keyboard.
That's a pretty big delay.
I have the same issue.
I could actually just play something and run downstairs, grab a new beer, and get back up before people actually hear it.
Right?
That's crazy. Okay, so that actually worked, right?
Right. There was no chops. It sounded clear.
Okay, well that's interesting. So now let's plug in the bass guitar for the fuck of it. I mean, oh no, swearing on YouTube. Ah. Demonetized.
No, it ain't gonna be demonetized.
I didn't even make money, so hey.
Oh, me either.
So let's see. So now we have a bass guitar.
You got more subscribers than me anyway. I've got 39.
Okay. So, oh, that's overdriving. There we go. So is this actually picking anything up right now? Nope, that's all microphone. That's actually all microphone. Oh, right. Yep. Found the issue. Right. So for this experiment, we'll turn off the microphone here. And I'll play bass so you only hear, in theory, the sound of the interface. Or at least that's the idea. So let's try that. If it actually wants to turn off. And the microphone as well.
That part, when you played those synth strings, was fine. You guys can hear you on the live stream now. You're not drinking enough, man.
Yeah, you do have a point there. Maybe I should go on Twitch and have one of those roulette wheels with drink X many shots or something.
Oh. Wife is calling you. Receive one now. Tuesdays have spending money. Yellow.
Hey Anders, it should be working without chops now. So if you can confirm that, that would be nice.
I don't hear traps. Alright, you too, man. chops.
Yeah, whoever invented this shit, man.
Well, it's all about how hardware works with software. I mean, that's what it is. And Windows suffered with that.
Right? Yeah, going to have to agree with that. It's sort of the first issue I ran into is with the DAW when it's running. It really doesn't want to share its resources with OBS and stuff. So that's how I ended up with the dual interface thing,
Maybe,
which is a little bit weird. But
well, maybe what you could do is just run your mic to the interface that goes straight to OBS, and then run your other stuff like the bass or whatever else you play through your DAW. Run that interface to your DAW only.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's sort of the system right now. So basically, what I have going on the DAW side is that's the Roland Rubix. So there's going to be a pretty big delay here. But that's the Roland Rubix. And everything in OBS is the PreSonus. So right here, that's the PreSonus. Oh Jesus, need to get in closer. That's the PreSonus. The microphone is actually, there's the microphone, is also PreSonus. And the DAW input here is also just the PreSonus. It's the Rubix is looped with some cables in the back to the PreSonus. So the PreSonus only handles the PC and the stream, and the Rubix only handles the DAW. That's sort of the ID, which works mostly. Well, apparently now it works.
Do you have FL Studio?
No, I don't actually. No.
If you can afford the producer edition, it's $200. Now, I played around with Reaper as well. It's just not my kind of workflow. But if you can afford $200, you can get the producer edition for $200. Um, you know, besides all the synth, almost all the synths and stuff that comes with it, with FL Studio, producer edition, and it unlocks everything else. Um, and plus free updates for life. So I mean, you can't you can't argue with that. Um, but you can also download the demo. The demo does not have a time limit. You just can't load up saved projects. That's all. So
That would be good for testing, though, right?
huh?
That would at least be good for testing. So
Right, right. See the difference to make sure that it's not the DAW settings in case this happens again. But so far, I haven't heard any dropping or any chops or nothing. So it might have been that buffer plugin messing up.
yeah, it does feel that way. Well, so we learned one thing. Just be freaking careful with which projects you open and try some alternate software just to be sure to have a backup plan.
Besides, you get FL Studio, because I do have Reaper. I mean, I got the free demo thing. I haven't bought it yet, but if you get FL Studio, if you ever want to do a project together, you can.
All right, all right.
Because if you go to my YouTube channel and check out the Out of the Cold yeah, I'm buzzed now. Go to Out of the Cold Fire. Um, that's my style. It's actually very similar to your style.
That's interesting.
And I think you and I can actually make magic together. I've listened to some of your stuff too that you posted on your channel, and I really think that you and I can work well together because. Oh, you're already playing.
So, what's your YouTube channel again?
Oh,
Oh, and the YouTube chat. Right. Where the heck did I leave it? Oh, there. No, actually I can't, but I can just Google your channel, which works fine. Yep, found it. There we go. Oh, it's called Fire. Yep. So there's a free feature.
Sorry?
There we go. Yep. Yeah, might as well, right? It's the least I can do. I mean, those vocal samples are pretty cool. Like the voices in there. Yeah, I sort of guessed it is. Yeah. I fucking wish I had on this right now. But seriously. It's amazing. No. Actually, I bought the JDXA specifically for Omnisphere. It's a controller platform. But then I decided to do this stream thing and I ran out of money. Story of everyone's life, I think. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think it would. Actually, that's sort of the thing I wanted to do with these streams was like create like contacts and links and stuff. So that's a great idea. Make a sort of collaboration of it.
He's always. He was not on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Needs to be radio friendly to make it. So just out of curiosity, by the way, so you found me on Instagram, right?
Actually, I found you randomly as a suggestion for a YouTube video.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
I don't even think I don't even have an Instagram account.
Oh, that's the reason why I can't find you.
I just don't do Instagram. Well, I was banned. I have a I do have a profile that was banned from Instagram because apparently I did something that was against their terms of use, and yeah, they totally deleted one of my accounts, and I never went back to them.
Huh.
I don't even know what they did.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, my experience in general is pretty good with Instagram, especially with like spontaneous contacts. It's really helpful. Like, there's a lot of creators on there, so you can find a lot of people who do sort of similar things. So that's a cool reason to be on that platform, of course. But you have to be a little bit careful with copyright stuff. That's true. And don't be too offensive. It does help.
What happened was I think I accidentally shared an advertising post, and I think that's what did it. I think that's why they deleted my account.
Oh, yeah, that's risky.
Because I know they don't like you advertising for money.
Nope. Yeah, that's a risk. That's true.
And I think
Huh.
that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah, good. It's interesting.
But
Huh.
I don't do Twitch because Twitch is just too inconsistent, and all these elite people that are way high up. I mean, I'll have better luck on YouTube than Twitch.
Yeah, well, the advantage of YouTube is like Twitch is really gamer related, so there's a lot of gamers on there, and a lot of music creators are not uh, gamers, so they are not that familiar with the platform as well. So that's the reason why I chose YouTube. It does make a little bit more sense for me, at least.
All right, give me a minute. I gotta go check something. I'll be right back.
Yep, definitely.
But you,
Okay, let me quickly check because what I'm trying to do now. Oh, I have an echo. That's interesting. I'm trying to see if I can actually get your audio working as well. I think that would be interesting.
yeah, if you can, I won't complain.
Cool. Yeah, actually, I think it works.
Well, this is my whole point of Webisonics in the name is to do stuff like this. All the stuff I have on my YouTube channel is a bonus, but it's really to have sort of cross interviews with people. Um, it doesn't matter if they're popular or not. It doesn't matter. Um, it's just to get an insight and a more detailed, more personal touch with musicians and sound designers.
because most people are more worried about uh, image. I'm not, and the point is to kind of dive deep into what people do as a sound designer or musician or both. It doesn't matter if it's for music or games or movies. It doesn't matter. That is my point. That's what Webisonics. That's what I've tried to build it. Um, build Webisonics um, out for because it's
That's sort of interesting. Yeah, I have an echo on myself. That's so
huh.
weird. That's so weird. I hear myself twice, and I
Oh,
think,
me too. That's why I took the headphones off.
yeah, I think the stream as well.
It's just
So,
internet lag. That's all it is.
yeah, that's it, right? Um, Not really an easy way to fix that, right? Yeah, unless I mute my mic, maybe.
So speak 11 times for Anders. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Right. I mean, everything that you do on your channel, all the little tutorials you've done, all your little live streams, everything, everything I've done, everything other people have done. Um, what most people don't realize is 90% of this can be done with any DAW nowadays, any synthesizer nowadays, anything. And all they got to do is just compensate for what their DAW can or cannot do, or what their synthesizer cannot or can do. And um, it's if people just put forth the effort, because a lot of, especially young people, they want people to do things for them. They want everything done for them. They're not willing to learn. And the point of your channel, my channel, and channels like ours is to just simply learn, to soak it in. Um, the likes don't matter, the views don't matter, as long as we're teaching someone, as long as we're inspiring someone. That's what matters. That's all that matters. Because mainstream music is garbage now. That's just my opinion. And we we need to build the future for music. The same music has been played over and over and over again for almost 40 years now. And the same type of sound design in music and games and movies has been done again and again and again. It's become so repetitive that when a new movie, a new game, a new TV show, new music comes out, we're almost expecting something that we heard 2 weeks ago or even 10 years ago to happen. And it's up to people like you and I to change that, to expand that. I mean, it's something new. I know. And that's one of the reasons why, um, that's one of the reasons why I kind of cut ties with some previous sound designers. It's not that I didn't like them or hate them or nothing. It's just because they were demanding the same thing over and over and over again. It's something that's been done for the past actually 50 years, really, over and over and over again. Yes, we all know it works, but it's just the same thing. It's the same kind of pluck sound. It's the same kind of synthesizer sound. It's the same kind of brassy sound, same pad type sound. And that's why when all these new synthesizers come out, I'm looking for something new, new types of modulation options. Because if you have the same kind of modulation options as everyone else, well,
It's
guess
going
what?
to sound the same.
It's going to sound the same.
Yep. And that's where Omnisphere is really good, by the way. It has a broad range of weirdness in a good way.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily have to be weirdness. It's only weirdness because it's something different, something new.
You're just not used to it, right?
And it's our job to get them used to it.
Saviors of the world. We need capes, man.
We need what?
Capes.
Yep. Now, the next time we do something like this together, or if you do this with anyone else, we need to try to get the computer's live streams connected so that way um, you and I, or you and whoever else, can just experiment together with whatever DAW they use or whatever synthesizer or rompler they use. It doesn't matter. Um, and that's the power of programs or synthesizers slash romplers like Omnisphere is that Nexus is great. I don't have Nexus, but I've heard it. I've heard the sounds from it. They're great, but the everything else about it is limited. But with Omnisphere or programs like Omnisphere, you can manipulate those sounds in any way you desire. I mean, technically you can with Nexus with your DAWs, uh, mixer tracks and everything and extra effects, but with an Omnisphere, you don't really. You can almost mix and master a whole song with Omnisphere alone, with all the EQ options and all of that. And things like Nexus just don't offer that. They got great sounds, but that's it. Um, oh, you pull up Line. It's time for me
Yeah.
to shut up.
So you do know Lion.
I've heard of it, but I don't own it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. It's one of those synthesizers that's just it's special. Let me actually see if I have any sound here. Not any MIDI incoming. Jimmy. Oh, it's the arpeggiator. That's always an issue. Yeah, Lion is quite interesting and very open-ended.
Oh, it looks like semi-modular too.
Yeah. The effect shells are modular, and modulation is modular as well. So you can actually modulate anything anywhere. So that's a big plus. So one of my buddies, Autolepsy, he's really into that modulation thing. Let's see if he has something really weird here. This is pretty tame. The door start getting a bit louder. That didn't make it much louder though. It's yeah, it's a cool thing though.
You wouldn't happen to
It
have Rob
definitely is.
Happens Blue, would you?
I'm sorry, what?
You wouldn't happen to have Rob Happens Blue, would you?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have that many synths. I mean, I have too many, but not all the big ones. Uh,
Well, I ask because. Oh, the internet lag. I'm interrupting you.
oh no, I don't. I don't think you did. So one thing to figure out is a better way to manage the latency at least. It's a little bit messy this way, but alright, Forn and Pigments are two big ones I have. Um, but I miss a lot of the really big ones. For the reason that probably my JDXA can do whatever they do, or Pigments can do that. So there's a lot of overlap. It's just on this where I really miss.
Do you have any FM synthesizers?
Pigments would be an FM. Oh, and I do have Dext.
Oh, you got
Which is,
Dex.
of course, a classical.
Nice.
Yeah. It's one of those must-haves, right?
Well, I don't know how well you know how to delve deep into it, but there's a there's a preset I made way back in 2010 with Blue. It was actually 1.5 at that time, and I made a super dark sound. I don't have that preset anymore, but I made a super dark FM synth sound. I don't know. I've I've never really used Dext. Although I do have it, but I've never really used it. I'm too lazy to dive deep into it. But I do remember that I routed 4 out of 6 of the parts into the last part, and it sounded so dark. I even called it. I called it. What did I call it? I can't remember what I called the Dagum preset. Yes, I said Dagum. I don't want to swear on the live stream.
Well, I already did a few times, so we're screwed anyways.
Oh, you did? I didn't even notice.
I mean, at some point you have to call it just language, right? I mean, if it's used so much, okay, can you really still call it swearing?
Just so you all know,
YouTube does.
I am actually talking with him with my iPhone right now, and the internet lag is why there's been a couple interruptions that I've done or he's done or whatever, and that's why. So, yeah.
This is one of those very suboptimal ways of doing this.
Right?
I, I guess it's really raw, not as right, but like you said, just it just exists. I like it.
But if some of you want to watch my one of my videos on my channel uh, about my FM synthesis obsession, I think I did do something similar to what I was just talking about. Um, Now, I'm only saying that because this particular sound sounds something like you would hear from some kind of evil cerebral game or movie. And a long time ago, when I did that preset, there was a website called what was it called? It was called I thought it was called Free. No, not Free Sounds. It was connected to MP3.com before it was taken over by that FM.com stuff. Um, and there was this man screaming, and I just looped it, and I put it in the background with the old track I did. I don't even have that anymore. I know it's sad I'm talking about that, and I don't have that track anymore. But play with FM synthesis because FM synthesis and also ring modulation can take you so far. There's so much you can do with it, and I think they're the two most underrated sound design concepts out there, whether it's for music or sound effects or whatever. Um, and that's the reason why I just mentioned that because I mean, if you want to go into sound design, you have to get into everything. You have to be willing to record just the most awkward, even low quality, crappy quality stuff to mix it with other things like synthesis. And that's what's going to, I think, drive the future for, well, non repetitive stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that before I start to babble and ramble on about that, because I will.
Trying to see if there's any way I can actually keep you on top of things if I move things around. So probably a window capture, I think. Yeah, that works. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's great. So now I can. Oh, seriously?
That's apple juice.
Yeah, so now it works. Oh, seriously, there's so much with OBS that's so weird. Hey, look, you're in the corner now. It almost looks legit.
Well, it's just an iPhone recording. I mean, that's all it is. I mean,
If it works, it works, right?
right?
I mean, you can get hung up all about it, but in the end, it's not about the tools. It's about making shit work.
Exactly.
It's, but the most obvious reason to go fancy is to stand out, like with quality.
Like earlier, we released on that one song when when it was going into the first drum beat, right before that, you heard a. Well, I don't do sound effects with my voice very good, by the way, but it's good for comedy. But that particular sound, I actually recorded my dog like 3, 4, 5 years ago now, with my iPhone, and no, not my iPhone. It was actually no, it was an LG. It was an old LG Stylo One that I recorded it with, and all I did was pitch it down and add some effects to it. That's all that was. It was an old recording I had, and that's all that. Oh, that's all that was. I mean, if you just
Nice.
if you're not scared of experimenting with things, you can do anything you want. Don't worry about what you hear on the radio or in movies or whatever, or mainstream is what most people call it. Just do what sounds good to you, and you can do whatever you want. And I think I accidentally interrupted you.
We interrupted each other, so that's fine. This delay is so weird, man. It's just a little bit too much. But yeah, it's a good thing to stay away from, like all the mainstream. Stay. It's very annoying. So like I hear myself back. You have the voice scrambling things where you delay someone's voice like a little bit. That's exactly my situation right now. So every time I speak, I hear myself like it's like half a second later. Yeah, it's really weird.
That's why I have
So
my
I'm const-
headphones off of my ears.
I constantly interrupt myself. So yeah, this thing needs to work out a little bit more. Oh man, I need to drink more. Maybe it compensates. If you're slurring enough, you compensate for interrupting yourself.
Oh, you got me on that one. Because I know I'm slurring.
Yeah. Well, in my defense, it's like uh, 10:30 in the evening, so it's a pretty good time to be drinking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's always a good time to drink. What you talking about?
My work disagrees.
Well, I'm not afraid to drink. The only time, well, I mean, I don't drink a lot. I don't get drunk a lot. But the one thing I don't do is when I'm finalizing something, whether it's sound design or musically, I do not drink or nothing. I'm totally 100% sober. Uh, and I think that's a good piece of advice for especially younger people because when um, when you're under the influence of anything, now if it's meds from psychologists or doctors, then there's nothing no one can do, nothing you can do. You have to take those. But if it's something if it's something like alcohol, or if it's something like weed or whatever, be 100% sober because when you're trying to mixing or finalizing something or even mastering something, because you want to make sure that everything is as neutral as possible. You want to make sure that you hear everything, and when I'm finalizing a sound or a library or a piece of music, um, I always do it sober. So that way, I'm not influenced by something else. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah, all things weird. It's like people drugged up. That's really going to mess with you in your judgment.
But There are those that disagree.
Oh, definitely. Which is
um,
fine. I mean, everyone has his own way, right?
exactly. This is fun. We need to do this all the time. Crap. I don't care if we're both drinking, or if we're both sober. I don't care. We need to do this all the time because this is fun. This is raw. We're not slurring too much yet.
It's not too bad.
But no, in all seriousness, there. The, I've already mentioned this earlier, but younger and newer producers, whatever, they need. This is just my opinion, but they need to stop worrying about what everyone thinks. Yes, there's gonna be criticism and everything, but at the beginning until the end, whatever sounds good to you, that's what counts. And if if you put enough thought and emotion into it, no one's gonna care. It's gonna sound great to everyone, whether it's to you, your friends, family, or everyone else in the world. And that's the point of music. And no, I'm not gonna go as far as deep and say music is life, but some people do. Um, but but there are certain limits to how someone wants to think about what other people think about them, how they think they're going to judge you. Um, Judge yourself first, and then let everyone judge you. Because if you judge yourself, because you yourself, you are your worst critic, always. I don't care how big your ego is. You yourself will be your worst critic, no matter what. And if you spend 6 months on a certain part of a song, that's because you're your worst critic. And that's actually a good thing. Because, yes, it might delay things. Yes, it might take longer than you want. But you're going to perfect it in your own way. And nobody can take that away from you, no matter what. I mean, that's how I look at it. What do you think?
Going to have to agree. Especially someone who takes a lot of time for things. It's definitely your mind starting to play tricks with it. You're constantly like, I can do better, I can do it better, I should do it differently. So yeah, what other people say isn't that important really. I mean, it's nice to have some people that like it, of course.
Right?
I mean, but I don't think it should be the goal. Yeah, I'm going to agree with Anders here. That's not alone in music production. It's in a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with him, too. Or her. I don't know if Anders is a male or female.
It's him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with him, too. That's totally 100% true. Because it's not only about music or sound design. It's about whatever job you're doing or whatever you believe in life. I mean, um, if I'm not gonna go any philosophical things, but whatever you believe, you know. So you're in IT, Anders. Yeah, same thing goes with IT. If things aren't running smoothly, you got to fix it, and it's up to you to fix it, right? Something like that. I might, I know I may have been a little bit off, but I used to know an IT professional who I call brother. Haven't been in contact with him a long time, but he was one of those people that see he made at the time he was making almost 60 grand a year, and he used to brag about it all the time. And he just went, did his job, and went home. He didn't really care about the quality or nothing. Yeah, it backfired on him too. So yeah, the company decided not to renew his contract, and he was working for McDonald's for 3 years after that. So it just depends on your work ethic, I guess.
We do have, well, at least I have a little luxury that music is my main income, of course. So I can take all the time I want. Uh, the only person saying I need to finish things quickly is myself. So it does take a lot of stress off.
Yes, it does. I mean, I don't make any money with what I do, not anymore. I used to, but as I mentioned before, the demand for mainstream stuff just went totally against my worth ethic. It totally against went against what I like to do, and I just cut ties with that because it was a distraction. I was making the same thing over and over and over again, and you know it's just not my thing. Some people don't care. If it makes them money, they don't care. But me, if it's not something new, something different, if it's not my way, you know, well, I wouldn't say my way. That's too control freak like. But it's I don't like too much repetition. That's all.
It's the definition of insanity, right?
Yeah,
Doing the
that's
same
what
thing
this
over and over again.
that's what this pandemic is causing in a way. Speaking of
Well,
this
people stuck
pandemic,
at home do weird things.
yeah. But speaking of this pandemic, there is something I have to mention. Of the four people watching, or at least that's what I see here, um, if do you know anything or follow Spectrasonics or anything, one of the lead sound recorders of Spectrasonics, check the Spectrasonics YouTube page, has passed away due to this pandemic virus. Just so you know, it's sad. In fact, he's one of the narrators of a lot of the older Omnisphere tutorials on their site, dating way back to 2009, 2010, 2008. Uh, but I know it's a sad part, but I since we were talking about Omnisphere, I thought I'd mention it because that guy has inspired millions, and a lot of
Yeah,
people
I
don't know that.
saw Eric's message about it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but I thought I'd go ahead and mention that because
Yeah, for sure.
you know, not to depress anyone, but hopefully to inspire someone because Eric did some inspiring words. He spoke some inspiring words in that video. But on another note, there's a new synth that came out recently within the past like month and a half called Genesis.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on this.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to
I
play that, go ahead. If you want to no, if you want to play that, go ahead. There's a
I
lag.
it's pretty big lag. It's like 15 seconds. That's pretty big. Yeah, I'll throw this on.
Hey everyone. I wanted to check in with all of you and give you some updates about what's going on at Spectrasonics during this super weird time that we're all going through. It's been pretty hard, and I know it's been tough on a lot of you. It really hit home for us and been pretty hard. We lost a member of our team to COVID-19, and as our beautiful dear friend Stefan Bonvalet. And Stefan was just such a sweet dude and so devoted to helping connect people all over the world. He sampled most of the synths for Trillion, actually, and also introduced Omnisphere to the European market in Paris at EarCam back when we introduced it as part of its debut, and he was part of a lot of different NAMM shows and Music Mesas. Wonderful father, caring friend for so many people. He'll be greatly missed. We love that guy. And so in addition to losing people that we love, one of the things that's been the hardest is seeing how this whole crisis is affecting the survival of musicians and artists. I know a lot of you guys have been thinking deeply about this. Like you guys, almost all of our friends that make a living doing music have lost nearly all of their gigs and their work, which has been devastating. We know that tons of our customers are impacted by this and are trying to figure out what to do and how to survive at this point. So we've been thinking a lot about what's the best way that we can help, that Spectrasonics can do something. And so we came up with something that we're announcing today, which is a new charity initiative called the Spectrasonics C19 Spotlight. Each week, we're going to be shining a light on a different charity that's providing aid to struggling musicians that have lost gigs. And there's a lot of different organizations that are doing some cool things. And the way it works is that each week we're going to be making a significant donation to help them and provide resources for them. And we'll be also highlighting the good work that they do in our social media. So we'll be letting you know how you can get assistance if you've been affected financially by this crisis, and a lot of you have been. We know it's been so hard for many of you guys who rely on gigs and that you've lost your income and are struggling with basic needs and trying to get by. So our hope is that by stepping up and doing this, that our C19 Spotlight initiative can be helpful to you to find out what is available to you and to support those organizations that are doing this good work.
So yeah, that's definitely a good initiative though. Because of course a lot of people are getting into trouble.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, for me it just sucks because I lost my holiday, basically. So I can work from home, so financially it's fine. But for people that rely on music, it's a big deal, very big deal. So I'm very glad he's stepping up.
For those that live in the United States, at least, I don't know about the other countries, but for those who live in the United States, you can apply for unemployment for self-employed people.
Yeah, it's good that there are some systems in place, although it could definitely be better. Yes. The economy is just not made for this stuff. The margins are way thin, and no one really saves money anymore. So yeah, it's harsh for sure.
In the United States, um, with the unemployment plus, we get an extra $600 per week. We're actually making more with unemployment plus the extra $600 that we get per week than when we were working at our current job together because we work at the same place. that's that's kind of sad.
Wow.
But if you're in this same position, I suggest, this is off topic from sound design and all that, but I suggest that you just take advantage of this in a way, just save up because this will end for now in July in the United States.
Yeah, although it will likely be back in like a few months. So definitely saving up is smart. Make sure you have some reserves to tap into. I mean, that's always good advice, by the way. Always have some money left.
Now, there's something in that video that Eric mentioned later. Um, if you want some extra, I guess, charity exposure, whatever video you make that deals with Spectrasonics, Omnisphere, or any Spectrasonics products, hashtag Spectrasonics in your description. So that way they can see it. If they like it enough, they can share it.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that they do share a lot of statuses and stuff. They are very involved. So that's really good. So yeah, Genesis.
I think I've gotten used to this lag time now.
You're adjusting. It's going to be so weird to be in real time. But we should look into a better solution because
Right?
it's still a bit weird. For sure. So my big question is, I don't think my DAW is currently outputting sound because there we go. Found the issue. Weird enough, if you solo things, but not the thing you want to hear, you don't hear anything. It's like magic. Genesis Virtual Hybrid Synthesizer. This thing.
So many people have complained about the synthesizer. Um, they say that it sounds cheap, this and that. I don't think they really know how to use a synthesizer. I think it's great.
I have issues with it for sure. Like just small things, like who puts sounds in menus. Like, that's incredibly disruptive. If you're working, like if you are planning to live stream this, and every time you click,
Oh
it
yeah,
makes a
that
little
click
noise.
sound. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like.
So stupid. And you can turn it off for one instance, and if you initialize a preset, it turns back on. It's really, really dumb. So that's a thing where I go, that's not smart. And I think it's a bit weird how many menus there are. Like, it works, so don't get me wrong. But if I look at like pigments or something, let's just get it in there. You can see so much more. Like you can see all the modulators and stuff. And if you want to modulate things, just click the modulator, drag something, and there you go. Modulation, done. And I think it's weird that, um, well, they took a step back with Genesis.
Well, the thing is, um, I think with Genesis, this guy has been working on this for several years now, and his idea, his whole intent, was to actually really release it for free, and it is free. You can donate $1 if you want or more, however much you want, but at the same time, people were expecting something, you know, commercial level, and I already knew it wasn't going to be like that. I already knew, and that's a good thing because with this type of synth, you can ex- basically expand your creativity, expand your whole consciousness. Okay, no, I won't go that far, but you can, but you can do whatever you want with the synth, and the modulation options that he has offered is more than many free synths out there. Um, that I'll admit there's certain parts that could have been better, but but it's basically free. And even if you pay $1 for this thing, I would pay $50 for this thing because you can. It's hard to explain because this type of synth, the way he designed it, can, I don't know. It's really up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to Synthetic Future. It's not up to anyone else. It's up to you what you want to do with it. And I think that was the whole concept of the synth. And I hope that people start to realize that because this thing is more powerful than it looks. People say, oh, the sound quality sucks. Or people say that you can't do this or you can't do that. Why are you complaining? It's free or it costs a bloody dollar. That's it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
really.
the value is definitely, it's the best there is. So like, the only things I can think about right now is Air Music. Um,
Oh, I have a
many of
bunch of their
those.
stuff.
Yeah, so okay, just to clarify, this PC is my gaming PC, so not every software I have is installed on it. So it's apparently I don't have them installed, which is weird because I'm fairly sure I used one of their strings. Oh, there's probably another PC. But yeah, they have like a few hybrid, the tube one, and what's the other one? We'll just quickly look them up because they're very cheap as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's put it other. They are not now, but like every 2-3 weeks there's a sale, and you can pick them up for like $30 or something. So usually they are a lot cheaper. So yeah, Loom is the let's say additive synth, and
Loom.
hybrid does a lot of stuff. Yeah, Loom.
Loom is
That's
absolutely amazing. It
it's
is.
really good.
This is just me. Loom is the best additive synth on the market because of how they have designed it in a semi-modular fashion.
Yeah, and even though additive synthesis is something special, like you don't see it that much, it's really easy to work with. Well, it's easy to get good results. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Most people don't.
Because,
Most people don't realize that when they play an organ sound, that's additive synthesis. That's the base of additive synthesis today. You play a church organ or any type of organ, that is additive. Additive, if I can pronounce it right, additive synthesis. You're basically stacking sounds or uh, whatever. It doesn't have to be the same exact frequency or the same exact sound. You're stacking things on top of each other. That's actually essentially additive synthesis. You adding things on top of each other. And then it's up to you to balance those sounds that are adding together.
I think it's a shame that I don't have Loom here right now.
You don't have Loom?
Well, I have it. Just don't have it installed here.
Well, this is
So that's
live
a bit
stream. Install it.
it's a bit inconvenient. Because one of the fun things with Loom is that automation thing. I'm trying to find a picture of it. Oh, this. That's the thing. That's the tiniest image ever. Actually, just.
Give me a minute.
Bad idea. Oh, there we go.
Y'all will see the ceiling for just a minute. I'll be right back. The unfortunate consequences of beer.
Oh, you're not on Discord, Teason. No Apex streaming today. Oh, it's a doggo. That's cute. So a dog and a cat. I think I incidentally made a lo-fi sound.
Oh, I got 3 dogs.
3 dogs.
Okay.
Very wobbly.
Time for me to shut up for a while.
Is that so? I'm trying to see if I can get Loom up. But there's like an iLog update and stuff. So I don't know if this is going to work.
Have you played with that random button yet? Oh, you're playing with pigments now. Never mind.
Oh, you mean with Genesis? Does it have a random button? Is that so? Oh, it's that thing. But I'm confused what it does. It all sounds the same to me. Oh. Still sounds the same though. So what is going on? I don't think the tone generation is working very well. Or I'm doing something wrong. In which case I would love to know what I'm doing wrong. Nasty click. Sounds like something's clipping though. It doesn't want me to install things. Because Reaper's still open. Yeah, that's a shame. We'll save that for another day. It's probably an attack. It's too fast or something. We have a... Oh man, this interface takes some getting used to. So where does the main volume live? I can always do.
Could be the resonance in the filter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the attack. So that could be it. Where are you? Get back. Also, it runs in 32-bit, which I think is a bit of a shame for something this new. But it's not a deal killer or anything. Resonance is off. So what's the mod envelope? Jason is like, what is this crap? Why are they not shooting things? Weirdest game ever. Still a bit of click though. It's interesting. It's just. It's still clicking a little bit, right? Yeah. Point things and shoot them.
Come here.
It's weird that it's clipping in some way. I'm pretty sure Pigments wasn't. Ah, you're outside. Walking the dog. Nice. Free dog cam.
sunbathing.
Right? Just slightly less relaxed. It's like an arcade machine being stuck.
I have to watch this one though. She will sneak out of the gate and just go on.
Run off. Gotta keep an eye on them. Oh, I think my camera ran out of battery. Yep. Yep. So it seems. Another reason to buy a webcam, if you can, because they are all sold out.
Yeah, but the thing about webcams is they all suck. Unless you want to pay about $300 for
True.
them.
Can't argue. But at the same time, like, the proper camera is very expensive, well, so it's tricky. Or you can use your phone, of course. I mean, it works. But it's not bad that I run out of battery, because I think it's about time to call it a day, to be honest.
Well, now I think you have fixed your glitched issues.
Yeah. Oh, you've already tested the system. Right,
Just
that's important.
Just remember what we talked about. Well, I won't say what we talked about. What you did.
Turn things off and on, and unplug things. So yeah. So this doesn't bode very well for the next time.
Oh, I don't think no one is complaining right now.
That's true. That's true.
Well, that's the thing about live
Well,
streams is most people in their live stream they try to make it like it's a professional quality recording, but live streams are supposed to be raw, live. I mean, it's it is what it is.
what happens, happens. For
Ex-
sure.
exactly.
Yeah, it was nice, man. Definitely.
Now, when you live stream, now you can do your own thing. Now you can do your sound design. Now you can do it all raw. Um, I had a similar issue that you had earlier, and um, it wasn't the crackling. It was about a 2 minute lag. I'm not kidding, and it wasn't my internet connection. It was my CPU. I cannot live stream on my CPU on my computer.
Oops.
There's a huge lag on it. Um, but all you subscribers, when you live stream, set it as a premiere. I mean, that's what I've read. That works really well. I mean, uh, so that way you can, when you start your live stream, all of your people know it right away. Instead of they know that instead of it appearing in their recommendations or notifications, a premiere will notify them right when that premiere happens. Apparently, that's what I've read on YouTube. Um,
Oh,
I'm not a pro in this, but I mean, you have you have over 100 more subscribers than I do. So I mean, uh,
Well, I mean, that took me 10 years or something. So let's call it slow growth. But yeah, for sure.
I'm just here to help. Anything else? If you ever want to live stream with me, just let me know. Um, but I suggest that you, as much as possible, live stream by yourself. Um, so that way people get to know you. I mean, uh, and then maybe once a month or once every 3 months, once a quarter or whatever, you can live stream with someone else, whoever it is, doesn't matter. Uh, just to kind of get that extra connection with people. Because as you mentioned, that's kind of your point. That's kind of my point, and people like us. That's what we try to do, and that's why we don't get as much. That's why we don't get as much exposure because of that. We're not worried about views or what people think. We just do what we do, and I think more people need to do that. And I think that's the future of streaming. That's just my opinion.
For sure. Although I would like to have you over again with a little bit less latency.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm gonna look into that because I have the same issue with latency as far as the internet goes. I mean, I have high speed internet. Uh, it's not super slow, um, but I think it has to do with the streaming software used and the key as far as the streaming key that's used um, through YouTube and the software that's used. I've heard that. Oh, what is it? It's cyber not cyberlink. Is that cyberlink? It's no crap. uh it's a it's a streaming software that's been around for many years. In fact, it costs like $300 to buy right out, and there's no subscription service for it. Oh, what is it? Oh, I can't remember what it's called now. Maybe Anders knows. Uh, uh, oh, what is it?
yeah, we are mostly like OBS or Streamlabs. But Streamlabs is especially for Twitch mostly.
Now, I have fallen in love with a new video editor that comes with the stream software, which is, well, garbage in my opinion. But as far as the video editing software itself, it's actually absolutely amazing. It's the VSDC. Um, and right now it's on sale for $20 for the pro version, and it is you can do so many things. You can in my opinion it's like a light version of things like Premiere, Adobe Premiere, without having to pay $30 a month for it. um,
Yeah,
but
don't get me started on that one.
you do pay like $40 a year for it. But no, no, I paid $20. It's the photo editor that Cyberlink has. It's the photo director that's $40 a year. But oh, what is that? I'm on another mission now. Um, it's it's not by Cyberlink, I don't think. It's
Resolve is also really good.
huh?
DaVinci. Does it DaVinci Resolve?
Oh yes, that's great. But for lower end systems, it's absolutely garbage because it takes forever to render When you're editing, it takes forever. Same thing with HitFilm. HitFilm is great.
Oh, his film. Yeah.
But ADSR is or ASDR is great. It renders fast. I can render like a 59-minute video in like 20 minutes. Um, Now, if you're looking for a free alternative, Olive is great, but it's open source. But Olive, yeah, it totally 100% relies on your CPU. So when you render, if you render like let's say
That's
an
not so
hour
good.
video, it'll take 8 hours to render.
Yeah, CPU rendering is not where it's at.
No.
Definitely not.
I,
Yeah,
I
I do happen to have a Adobe subscription.
I don't have a graphics card.
Ah,
Or
yeah.
a commercial graphics card. I only have an internal graphics card, and I need to get one, but um, yeah,
All this money.
yeah, yeah. That's the world. And
For sure.
going off topic before, because I know you said your battery was dying, but before we go off topic, or before we leave, whatever. This is the unfortunate thing about drinking beer, people, especially in live streams. You get buzzed. But anyway, uh, uh, what people need to realize in the world, all around the world, is we don't need money. We don't need pieces of paper, pieces of metal to live. All we have to, if we need something to live for, we just need to better ourselves. That's it. That's all we need to do. There's no need for money. There's no need for all this other crap. All right, and I'm not gonna go in detail because I'll start to sound like I'm preaching. But if everyone in the world comes together and decides to eliminate the need or want for currency, the human race can come together and go far. I mean, uh, I mean, it's more simple than people think. There's just so much greed and power. Oh, shut up. It's my cat wanting in. But there's so much greed and want for power. And so the ego in the world is so big that it's going to be probably at least 100 years before currency is eliminated. But until then, well, we'll be overpaying for everything.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, it's time for me to leave.
All right.
That's part of the joy. Yeah, yes. So I'll definitely stay in touch with you. It's really cool. Thanks for helping out as well. Even though it was just sort of brute force driving, but still, it's nice to have someone check for me. And I'm glad things work out now. And I think I'm going to take you up on the offer on trying to make something together. That does sound like a good idea.
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, we can try, or you can try with someone else that you know. And my wife is calling, so I gotta go anyway.
Ah, timing.
All right, talk to you all later.
Yeah, definitely. See you, mate.
All right, bye bye.
So yeah, we should be out of the delay zone now. I think I'm going to call it quits here, as my camera has died already, and it's getting a little bit late here. I have to work tomorrow. So thanks everyone for watching. Same to you, Andy. confused why